Well, thank you very much. And hello, CPAC. Do you miss me yet? Do you miss me yet?
Overnight, the former president lied about the election results. He named names, threatened a list of Republicans whose main infraction is to not back up his lie about the election results, and he asked for money. What did you see as the major takeaways, the most important things in this speech overnight?
I don't want to minimize the end he asked for money, John, because actually he made clear that he wants his supporters to give money to two committees associated with him. He did not mention the Republican National Committee, for which he has been a huge draw and for which he supported the chairwoman who is there now. But yes, you're right. He spent a lot of time, airing grievances, as we saw him do throughout 2020. This was basically a speech that could have been given in October of 2020. The most striking part was seeing a former president who left office less than 2 months ago naming the 17 Republicans, members of his own party, who he wants to see ousted. We've obviously never seen something like that. Now, John, it's not clear to me that the president is actually going to be able to recruit candidates who will be successful for every single one of those seats that he is taking aim at. That we're going to find out over the next 2 years, and that'll be a real test of how strong the former president is. But for the moment, he still clearly owns the Republican Party, and that was exemplified by last night's speech.
Let's play a portion of the hit list.
The Democrats don't have grandstanders like Mitt Romney, Little Ben Sass, Richard Burr, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Pat Toomey.
He's really playing the hits there, Maggie. But in terms of, you were saying it's not clear that he would be successful in, helping to put up candidates. Is he going to take an active role?
His team is definitely going to take an active role in trying to, if not recruit, at least endorse people for a number of these seats that he's talking about. And we should note the sound wasn't there, but he lingered very long on attacking Liz Cheney, who has been a singular force, the congresswoman from Wyoming. She's been a singular force for him in terms of his frustration because she was very pointedly, in favor of his impeachment, gave an impassioned speech about it, and she's associated with the Bush family, which always gets to him. But I don't think, Allison, again, we have to see what organization he is able to put together in terms of having a significant influence beyond his voice, right, and beyond the memory of his term going forward into the next 2 years. There is no question he remains very strong within the party.
But who knows? Who knows? I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay? Beat them for a third time.
Jim, the audience seemed to be eating it all up. No surprise, I guess.
Oh, that's right, Pamela. I mean, this CPAC with Donald Trump closing it out is a liar-palooza. Donald Trump opened up a fire hose of falsehoods on this crowd. He's still doing it right now. And this crowd is bathing in his dishonesty. And the biggest lie that he is telling at this CPAC is the big lie about the 2020 election, that he won the election and that it was stolen from him. He's repeated this several times throughout this speech here at CPAC.
Joe Biden and the Democrats are even pushing policies that would destroy women's sports. A lot of new records are being broken in women's sports. Hate to say that, ladies, but got a lot of new records. They're being shattered. For years, the weightlifting, every ounce is like a big deal for many years. All of a sudden, somebody comes along and beats it by 100 pounds. Boom, boom. Now, young girls and women are incensed that they are now being forced to compete against those who are biological males. It's not good for women. It's not good for women's sports, which worked so long and so hard to get to where they are. The records that stood for years, even decades, are now being smashed with ease. Smashed. If this is not changed, women's sports, as we know it, will die. They'll end. It'll end. What coach, if I'm a coach, I want to be a great coach. What coach, as an example, wants to recruit a young woman to compete if her record can easily be broken by somebody who was born a man? Not too many of those coaches around, right? they are around, they won't be around long because they're going to have a big problem when their record is, we're 0-16, but we're getting better. No, I think it's crazy. I think it's just crazy what's happening. We must protect the integrity of women's sports. So important. After.
It's hard to miss the fact that Trumpism has won. And, you know, it's amazing as a woman watching that footage because it really is just like a festival of toxic masculinity.
Donald Trump's first speech as our former president included some of the same false claims that inspired the deadly assault on the Capitol, and he expressed no remorse. Instead, he used yesterday's 90-minute address at the Conservative Political Action Conference to attack his political enemies, including fellow Republicans. As Ed O'Keefe reports, Mr. Trump also laid out his plans to continue leading the party.
Do you miss me yet? Do you miss me?
Even out of the White House, former President Trump is shaking up politics.
We all knew that the Biden administration was going to be bad, but none of us even imagined just how bad they would be and how far left they would go.
While former President Obama often spoke out about Trump after leaving office, Trump's desire to stay engaged in the political spotlight is unprecedented. After all, we've never had a one-term, twice-impeached former president leave office with an unusually large political following. And while he said he has no intention of officially splitting up the GOP,
we have the Republican Party. It's going to unite and be stronger than ever before.